My buddy Michael K. Where's Big Mike? Here, look at Mike. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing okay, Mike. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you hopping on. Everything good?
Everything's great. Outstanding.
All right, except the Yankee bats. We got a lot to hit today, man. So, when I've had you on in the past, we've kind of delved in, and I love doing this with my guests, but some personal stuff. This is really just about kind of an emergency state of the Yankees. We're talking shop. Let's get into it. So you had, and I think that Joel may have had, I know you're very, very close with Joel. I think Joel may have had this as well the other day. The thing about Volpe, which you recanted, right? So just get us up to speed on, if you can, Mike, on what you said yesterday and then what you put out about 45, 50 minutes ago.
Well, what I said yesterday on the show was a couple of people, a couple of sources, and rumors that I had heard was that Anthony Volpe had been asked to play second base, and a couple of people told me that he didn't want to. So it was like a throwaway line on the show yesterday. It wasn't a real big thing. I should have realized that it was going to be a big thing because there's such enmity toward Anthony now in the Yankee fan base. Then when I got up today in St. Pete, I got a phone call from somebody who I know and who's in the know. He goes, I don't know where you got that, but that's really not true. You should check it out. So then I made a couple of phone calls, which I should have done in the first place because that's my bad. And the person said, the people that I spoke to said, that's just not true. He was never asked to play second base, so he never refused. So I recanted it because I felt badly because I like this kid. And I've always said on the air, I want this kid to do well. I think he comes under a lot of fire. And obviously, by getting it out there that he had, said he didn't want to play second base, it kind of ignited the fire. And I didn't even know, but somebody told me that Joel had also written something similar. And I didn't even know that when I said that yesterday. But from the phone calls I made today, not true at all. So maybe that takes some of the heat off of him.
Yeah, probably not. but maybe that kind of heat. But
that heat,
that heat for sure. I mean, it's Mike. It's the same stuff. It's just last night, and I'm a Boone guy. I know you really like Aaron as well. Certainly not perfect. But I live by the mindset of. I remember talking to Jack Morris about this years ago. He believes now. This is just his opinion, but. He believes that the best managers equate to about maybe 5 to 7 wins a year. The rest of the crop, 60%-ish of the remaining managers, kind of a push, up one, down one, whatever. And then guys who are just atrocious at their job, are generally responsible for, in the thoughts of Jack Morris, 5 to 7 losses. I can't prove it. It's his opinion, but it stuck with me. He told me that 20 years ago, right? And I think Boone's good. I don't think he's great. I think he's good. I think he's a great person. And I think that he diffuses problems so well. And when you're the manager of the Yankees, that's imperative because there's nobody bigger than the Yankees. However, when he said last night that he doesn't think that there's any issue with the Yankees' approach, I think that's really one of the most ridiculous things that he said. I don't buy it. It's so apparent that I don't want to say that he's wrong, but I disagree with that strongly. What about you?
Well, he's never going to say anything that's going to reflect poorly on the organization or the team. And I think that that's part of the rules of engagement of that job. So that being said, obviously the approach of late has not been good. You can't strike out 34 times in 2 games. In fact, it's never been done before in Yankee history. That's how outrageous it is. I just think people right now, I don't know if it's the approach, Brandon. I mean, you played at a college level. I didn't. I just think that everybody is in a collective slump. And I think that people get hot at the same time. And I think people slump at the same time. It's like contagion. So I think that's what's happening right now. And I think that Aaron Judge said it very well when he spoke last week. And he said, everybody's trying to hit a grand slam with nobody on base. And I think that leads to pressure and that leads to overextending and probably expanding the zone. And it probably leads to a lot of strikeouts because people are trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And, whether that's approach or not, the Yankees have a really good hitting coach. They've always led the league or been close to the top of the league in home runs. But I think it was Chris Kirchner today in The Athletic who said that no team has ever been in the bottom 5 in strikeouts that has won the World Series, which is, and the Yankees right now I think are 4th in strikeouts. So they've got to correct that. Now these 2 games obviously. Or you would hope that they're an outlier, but they're going to face a really good pitcher tonight. So we'll see what they do.
A lot, pardon me, Mike. A lot of that resonates with me. What you just said, and I do remember there was one. Let me just shut this down. Goddamn, this freaking phone, pain in the ass, dude. Still can't figure out how to knock it out. Anyway, I remember. So I do get the mental gymnastics that hitters go through, even though I was 1/1 millionth of these guys. I remember playing against West Point, right? We come back. It's my sophomore year. It's in the fall, so it doesn't count, but it's a game, right? And I hit a home run, and I had a good day. A couple of doubles, home run off the scoreboard, and there was a White Sox scout there, and he told my manager, unbeknownst to me at that time, my manager later told me like a month later, he said, "Listen, he can't run a lick, so we're gonna need to see." Like they liked me a little bit. We're gonna need to see that power. So I got it in my head, and I internalized I'm lifting all winter, doing things that are bad for baseball, and it basically ruined me. Like it basically ruined my college career. And I say that because the mind is as powerful a tool and a weapon when it's going well as anything in the human body. So I get it. These guys are scuffling. I get it. It's cyclical. I know all that stuff. But when I see Wells and Volpe and certainly Jazz this year swinging out of their heels when it's 2 strikes, and you got to just, I'm not saying you got to try to flick the ball like a 1970, like Mark Belanger, or Manny Trio or somebody like that, but I don't think their approach changes. I think they've got the same swing when it's 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, even 1-0 as it is 1-2. And that is a philosophical breakdown, in my opinion, and I can't prove this, but what the Yankees espouse in the minor leagues, they're either drafting the wrong people or they're teaching the wrong thing or both. I do think it's approach, Mike.
Well, but it's interesting. I don't think it's endemic just to the Yankees, though, Brandon, because I think when you listen to old-time players talk, the thing that really bothers them is that players don't have a 2-strike approach. And you'll talk to some old-time pitchers now, and they say, well, we could strike out 12 to 15 guys a game because everybody swings from their backside, even with 2 strikes. But the interesting thing is one of the guys who's struggling the most right now for the Yankees is Cody Bellinger. And he very clearly has a 2-strike approach.
Yes.
Where he tries to put the ball in play.
Yep.
And he's striking out and he's struggling as well. Paul Goldschmidt is a guy who has a 2-strike approach. He struck out 4 times yesterday. Again, maybe it's contagious. I'm not quite sure. I know that right now everybody is really pressing. And even when they won on Monday, Brandon, they still struck out 17 times and only had 3 hits.
I know.
So if they're going to win games, they're going to win games by hitting home runs. And they had the 3 home runs on Monday, and yesterday, Rice had a home run as well. But they've got to start to hit home runs again and not strike out as much as they do. But a team that's built on home runs, Brandon, they are going to strike out, just not to this extent.
Yes, and by the way, not to belabor this because I got some other stuff that I want to hit you with, but you're right. 2 of the players that you mentioned there, Goldschmidt and Bellinger, they do have a more advanced, a little more contact, a deviation,
right.
But they weren't drafted and developed by the Yankees.
Right.
Like the 2 guys who do what you want players to do came from different organizations. That's kind of my point, but we could go in circles on this. I hear you. And I think it's either way, it's got to rectify itself really soon. I'm worried about Aaron Judge. Now, to me, when you are so far away from baseball activities, Mike, I think that and I hope I'm wrong, I think there's a chance that he doesn't come back this year. I actually believe that. I certainly can't prove it. I certainly hope that I'm wrong. I know you hear a lot more than me. How worried are they? Where are we? Because without Judge, there's no hope.
Well, Boone was asked that yesterday before the game. He said, "Oh, he's coming back." Somebody asked him, "Is there any concern that he's not coming back?" He said, "Well, he'll be back." I think that's what they're operating under, that assumption. But I think that one thing that people ought to be prepared for, it's going to be a long process because Brandon, he has not been able to do anything from the waist up. They have not allowed him to jog because it would jostle the rib. He can't lift anything like that. So when he's cleared and there's a clear healing at the new imaging that they have, he's going to be starting even before what he would be starting in spring training, because the spring training, you're lifting leading up to spring training and you're in great shape. And obviously he's in great shape from the waist down. He can do stuff with his legs, but a lot of it's the upper body, especially with his power. So it's going to be a while before he comes back. And I think so many things rest on that. People keep asking me, what's wrong with the Yankees? What's wrong with the Yankees? I just think everything is built around Judge. And I don't blame the Yankees for that. They have one of the all-time great players, and they built a team around him. Nobody could have envisioned that he'd be out for 3 months, but that's the case right now. But I think the general feeling is that he will be back, but None of us are doctors. Nobody knows. And I think people are just crossing their fingers.
It's a tricky spot of the body. You pull a hamstring, that's obviously more common. Groins, quads, okay, get it. Flexors in the hip, whatever it might be. Strains in the shoulder, like Judge in the elbow last year. But when you have a rib, like an intercostal, like some sort of ligament, I know I believe it's more bone related with him, right?
I think it's up here. It's a higher rib.
It's a higher rib. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem with that though is that you can't really test it. Like,
right.
Because and to your point, and I read that the other day, that from the waist down, he's doing a lot of stuff in the weight room. But when you sometimes you could be in the middle of the night, like you just stretch or you breathe wrong, and it kind of triggers again, and you can take a little bit of a step back. So again, it's a fear of mine that he won't be back this year. I hear what you're saying, and I get you on what Boone said last night as well. But he's still 2 weeks away from the re-imaging. Then it's got to prove that there's been sufficient healing. And then to your point, you've got to, now ramp yourself up because it's a really elongated absence. I mean, if I said to you, Michael, over, under, it's just a guess on your end, over, under August 15th, you think he's back? I don't think he's back by August 15th. I really don't. Do you?
If I had a guess, I would think it'd be in the third week of August. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
But again, that's just a guess because it's July 8th today.
Yep.
And there's still imaging that has to be done, and then he has to take off from there and get back into playing shape and get a swing down. So everybody with the Yankees has to just hope and pray that the imaging shows a complete healing. The one thing that Boone had said a couple of weeks ago is that the pain is starting to subside. So if the pain is starting to subside,
finally, geez,
right. So that would mean that there is some sort of healing, but it has to be a complete healing.
Yes.
Because you can't start swinging with only partial healing. It's got to be completely healed before he can really go.
Yep, and there's going to be dry swings and then a little off the tee and then a little front toss, soft toss, and then modified BP. Like there's definitely a ramp-up progression, which is why I think it's going to be a long time. Last time I had Boone on, which was about maybe a month ago, something like that. Obviously, before Lombard hurt his hand, he was starting to hit. This was right when you didn't hit right away in AAA, as you know, but then he got hot a little bit, started to impact the ball. Numbers were rising. And Boone straight up said, yeah, he's in play for 2026. The injury, not that he would be a savior, but I can't imagine he'd be worse than Volpe. You think he's still in the plans? I know there's still some checkpoints here. Where are they with Lombard, do you think, Mike?
Well, the one thing that's a little bit of a conundrum with George Lombard is every time he's been advanced to another level, it takes him a while to get right offensively at that level. So there's a kind of an indoctrination period.
Yep.
So he did that in AA and he did that at AAA, started off slowly at AAA and then started to lock in. If you bring him up when he's healed from the finger injury, it's going to, do you really want to bring up a guy who in 2 weeks might be hitting 100? Because you know how tough New Yorkers could be. So, I mean, is there a chance? Yeah, there's a chance, but I'll push back a little bit on you with Volpe.
Okay.
He has not been what he was advertised to be, but his on-base percentage this year is like 345.
I know.
And he's been a guy who's like at 290, which was it's not acceptable because you're not able to use your speed. So yeah, he has ups, he has highs, and he has lows. But if he can hit 240 and have an on-base percentage of 340, 350, that's not terrible. I still think that there's a Major League Baseball player in there, whether it's at shortstop or at second base. I think there's a Major League Baseball player in there.
I'm not so sure anymore, man. And I listen, I love local stories. Del Barton's not too far from where I'm at. I love high school ball. Like, I love that stuff. I met his dad. Great guy. I don't know if you ever met Mr. Volpe.
Terrific. I love the whole family.
Yeah, great family.
And people ask me on my radio show all the time, why do you not rip this guy? And, I criticize when I criticize, but I'm not going to rip him because I like him personally and I like his family. There's a human aspect to it as well. I think it's really easy to take pot shots at people that you'll never meet.
Yep.
You'll never have to deal with it. And not that I'm afraid, because I said some things about Anthony at the arm yesterday. I said the arm doesn't look like it's a prototypical shortstop's arm, and he has not played that well. And right now, Caballero is probably the best choice, but I'm not going to kill a guy who's a good guy, who hasn't hurt anybody, who's always done right by the Yankees, and I happen to know his family. So, yeah, does that make me soft? Maybe in this case it does, but I'm not going to hammer him the way a fan can hammer him who never has to meet dad and never has to meet mom and
Yep.
never has to meet the sister and doesn't have to talk with Anthony Volpe. So I like Anthony. I hope the best for him.
I love him. I mein, there's an aspect of that I completely relate to. Now, I've met Michael Volpe once, texted a bunch, right? I really like him, but I think that I'm kind of the same way with Boone. Like, I think, to be fair, to be completely transparent, I'll own this aspect where, like, if he was managing the Mets and they were looking this way, I'd probably be on the air saying fire him. Not because it's a Yankee Met thing, because it's it would be a little, because I probably wouldn't have the relationship that I do with him, probably, and it will be less personal. Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've tried to certainly position it more about the production or lack thereof, and keep away from the hit pieces and personalizing it. But there is a point, and I think it's really illuminated because there's just not enough around him. If Volpe was batting ninth or eighth, then you had Tino and Bernie and O'Neill and Posada. Okay, we can live with that. Just catch the ball. Still not a shortstop. That's one thing that I'll push back on you with. His arm, it's a rag arm. I mean, and to me, just the way those throws kind of loop toward even the ones that don't hit the dirt, they come there. It's never on a line. It's never got that real tight spin. Doof. It's always kind of just looping, and you don't have a shortstop arm. But at least we find out that he is, I guess, amenable to playing second base, because if he's going to stay here, that's where I think he's going to eventually have to play, I think.
Well, it's interesting about the arm because a guy who got into the Hall of Fame with every vote but one, Derek Jeter, didn't have a great arm either. Alex Rodriguez had a great arm. Derek Jeter made up for it by a quick release. And I think sometimes Anthony's arm leads him to rush things at shortstop as well. Mm-hmm. And when he rushes things, I think that then he makes some errors that look careless, but he's just trying to get rid of it quickly to make up for the lack of velocity from the arm. But there have been shortstops that don't have great arms and they get by. And again, Derek Jeter is one of them.
Stanton, I think I didn't hear you say this. I thought I saw a transcript too. I think it was real. Did you say the other day that the Stanton, I think it was you, the Stanton acquisition prevented were you talking about Stanton the other, rather than me guessing? What did you say about Stanton?
I've said this over and over again, and I like him a lot. And when he's healthy, he's a force. Yep. But I said that unless the Yankees win a World Series where Giancarlo is a big part of it, then that deal will go down as a really bad deal for the Yankees. And I don't blame Brian Cashman for it, because when he acquired him, he was not the player that he is now. They didn't know his body was going to break down. He was an MVP when they got him. He's coming off a 59 home run season. He was actually a good outfielder and a really good runner. But it's hard to build a team and have an important part of that team, every single year he's going to be down. And I don't think anybody thought he was going to be down this long, because if you remember, Brandon, when he got hurt in April, they didn't even put him on the IL right away.
I know.
They didn't know if it was going to be an IL stint because it was so minor. And then it took a long time for him to feel better. And then when he ramped it up, he set back again. So I think that what we're seeing is the loss of Judge and Stanton have led to what people say, well, it's bad roster construction. I don't agree with that at all. I just think that what you've done is you've exposed the depth, because the depth now has to play every day. And Paul Goldschmidt is a terrific player, but at 38 years old, he can't play every day. Mm-hmm. He's going to wear down. It happened last year, and it's happening right now where he's 0 for his last 30. Terrific guy, good defender, but no one ever thought he was the insurance for Stanton going down for a month, maybe 6 weeks, but not for 3 months. So that's forced Goldschmidt to play every single day. And I think we're seeing some of a regression now, what you're going to see in a 38-year-old.
Mike, you've been doing the Yankees forever. What, 35, 36 years?
This is the 35th year.
That's a lot of nice paychecks coming your way, bro. 35 years. And I said something my way. I can't use it. Right. So you've obviously called a million games, and you're a little bit older than me, so you've seen even more than I have. There was a point, I'm talking about like Stump Merrill right in that era before Buck got things going, Stick Michael and everything. And like after the Donnie, Ricky, Winfield, Jack Clark teams, Pags, that little 3-4 year window, the Yankees were rolling out some of the most wretched catchers I've ever seen. And even slightly before that, like I remember Bob Guerin playing, Ron Hasse. I mean, Austin Wells, he's got to be the worst catcher and I know he's got talent, but I don't even care about that anymore. This is, but Forget about catchers. Is this the worst Yankee offensive season that you've ever seen by anybody in all the years that you've watched the Yankees?
I have not given that much thought. I saw a stat yesterday that there are 245 players that have had over 200 plate appearances.
Mm-hmm.
And he's last. He's 245th in average, on base percentage, slugging, and obviously OPS. So I can't explain it, Brandon, because this is a guy, when he came up, they said he's an offensive guy. You're going to have to live with his defense. He's turned into a terrific defender, really good framer, really works hard, knows his pitchers, gets the most out of them. I can't explain how on July 8th he has 10 RBIs. I don't have I'm supposed to know baseball. I guess I do. I don't know what's going on with Austin Wells. I have no idea.
You're not supposed to be a magician, though, and it seems like, or a psychic. I mean, it seems like that's where we're at. I have no explanation. I could talk about his approach and bore everybody to tears. I don't know. 10 RBIs. It's not like he's got 39 at bats. You're right. It's absolutely confounding.
Yeah.
What he's morphed into. And by the way, what he's good at is what he was thought to be terrible at, as you just said. And he is a very good receiver. Speaking of the other night, the Cam game, when Dominguez tapped the helmet quickly, was ignored, did it again, ignored, and then Boone came out. I'm thinking, because if I'm Boone, we've seen him explode quite a bit. If I'm Boone, I'm just looking for something to go nuts on, to unleash the venom because he's a competitive guy, that he's got worked up. What exactly, in your interpretation, like, is there a timing mechanism? Because that seemed almost immediate to me, and that's not the first time that's happened to Dominguez. The process of the ABS challenge, I know it's got to be quick, but is there an official rule on it?
It's got to be immediate, and I thought it was immediate.
Me too.
But it can't. From what I heard yesterday, this is what Boone was explaining, that he thought that Dominguez had help from the dugout, which is not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But Boone said the dugout reacts on every single pitch.
Yes.
So if players are throwing their hands up and go, oh, no, that wasn't a ball. That's not like somebody looking at an iPad and relaying to him that it was out of the strike zone. And the other time when he was denied it was the same crew. So
yes.
I don't know if it was Emil Jimenez, the home plate umpire, that did it the last time, but it can't be the time, Brandon, because it was immediate. And he did it twice.
Yeah.
So maybe it is that they thought he got help from the dugout, which I also think is ridiculous, because as long as it's quick, if the dugout shouts, oh my God, you can't stop players from reacting.
I know.
Players react all the time.
I know. That's what I was trying to unpack with it. It's like, I understand, trying to eliminate the component of like digital assistance. Like if there's a 3-second lag and you've got the iPad and then you're like, oh, challenge it. But that's not what happened. Because it was immediate. So I just wanted to clear that up a bit. Hey, you said it's July 8th here, and the trade deadline is August 3rd. If you act out of desperation, you're going to get fleeced in trades. I understand it's a dance. Teams aren't ready to trade yet, blah, blah, blah. Number one, there better be multiple moves coming. And number two, they better not happen August 2nd. What is your anticipation, or it could be too late, of what Cashman's about to do?
Well, I think they've got to improve the bullpen, and I think their hope was that it would be LeGrand. So with the shoulder injury, he's probably out of play for that. And I think they've got to get a right-handed catcher. I think it's a lot to ask. Everybody wants everything fixed. You're going to have to pick and choose. It's going to be like triage. What do you need the most? And you need somebody in the bullpen, and you need a right-handed hitting catcher. Could they use another starter? I know people are talking up Tarek Skubal. Listen, if the price is cheap, you investigate it. How could you not? It'd be great to have him pitch. But, I wouldn't. I think I read that you had said this. I wouldn't give up George Lombard Jr. for him, not for 2 months. You're not going to sign him long term. The Yankees have so much money invested in their rotation. $36 million for Cole, $27 million for Rodon, about $30 million for Fried.
Yep.
That's a lot of money. So you're not going to give Tarek Skubal $45 million a year. And we don't even know what the rules are going to be. So everybody's kind of like flying blind. Okay, I'm acquiring this guy. Is there going to be a cap? Can we sign him? Something like that. So if you could get him for less than everybody thinks you're going to get him, yeah, of course you look into it. But again, triage, what do you need the most? And I think somebody in the bullpen and a right-handed catcher.
Does Clark Schmidt factor in at all? I know he's still rehabbing a little bit from the Tommy John. I mean, is he going to be on the Yankee out of the pen? Probably at some point.
I think he does. There have been good reports I've heard with him working out and throwing, and he wants to get out there, but that would probably be more toward the middle of August. I think the trades could start happening after Sunday because nobody wants to do anything until the draft. So the draft is going to be the weekend before the All-Star break, so that's this weekend, and then front offices could turn toward, okay, what do we want to do? Here's the thing that is the fly in the ointment, Brandon. Everybody's in it. Because of the third wild card, nobody wants to give up. Now it's going to take tough teams and tough-minded teams to go, okay, we might make the wild card, but we have no chance. And those are the teams that are going to say, okay, we're for sale. The Giants have already made it known we're up for business right now. So Luis Ariz is available. Maybe Chapman is available. They would love to get rid of their shortstop Adames, but I'm not sure what the Yankees would be interested in there.
Yeah, it's a big contract with Adames. I like Arias. He'd fit this the profile, put the bat on the ball. Yeah, listen, I think we all know, we've been saying this for a while, relief pitching, right-handed hitting catcher, that's not going to cut it. Like, there needs to be, like a 96 with Fielder or a Justice, and to me, the importing of a high-level position player, I think I don't know if it will happen, but I think it has to happen for this team to have a real chance, Mike.
To put where? I'm curious. Where are you putting him?
Okay, I can put him in. I could put him at short. I could put him at third. I could put him at second. I could, I could put Belly in center, and then I could put, if it's a left fielder, I could have Grisham play just against righties. I mean, there's enough machinations where I could figure it out.
Here's the way I have to look at it, and you might not agree. If Judge doesn't come back, there's no deal that they could make that's going to make them a World Series contender. I think they have to have Judge back, whatever deal they make.
But you still got to try, right? You can't just say, well, all right, Judge not coming back. See you whenever baseball resumes. You still got to try.
Okay, but you try. But if Judge doesn't come back, I still think they make the playoffs. Because the American League is so dreadful. So I think they'll still make the playoffs. I think their starting pitching is going to come around. They have a little bit of a flat spot right now. So I think they'll make the playoffs. And after that, you roll the dice. But in terms of are they a World Series contender? You need your best player. You have to. There's nobody that's available out there, Brandon, that's Aaron Judge. I'm sorry. Aaron Judge is not available.
I agree. We wish he was available for us. That would be a good starting point. I know you've got your show, so I got about 7 more minutes.
I did tell him one thing, though, the other day. When he spoke to the media, I pulled him on the side. I said, you know what? Everybody said that you might not win the third straight MVP. And he shrugged his shoulders. I said, you got a bigger case to be the MVP this year as ever before.
That's interesting because, and I know where you're going with that. To me, and Judge has certainly earned, and he should have had another one without Altuve, but a lot of the time, if you think about the essence of the award, like if you were to strip away player X, right? What would the result be for Team Y?
And we see.
Yeah. Remember Pendleton won it years ago with really benign stats for the Cardinals or the Braves. Well, I forget which one it was, but now it's just about, all right, which guy has the most numbers, or the best numbers. Think about the way the Yankees are and how they operate statistically, record-wise, in the standings with Aaron Judge and without Aaron Judge. They're setting records for futility. I mean, they're scoring 2-3 runs a night. They're striking out double figures every game. They got 3, 4, 5 guys with an OPS under 700. I hear you on that, but he would have to come back and bang, which if he's healthy, he will because he's Aaron Judge.
And the big argument last year was it should have been Raleigh. Well, Raleigh has had a dreadful season and he's on the IL. And you know what? The Mariners are right there. They might win the West.
He's been dog shit.
It's unbelievable. Wow. It's unbelievable.
It really is. All right, let me ask you this here, Mike. We know I got about 7 minutes with Mike. He's got a show coming up, but you said till 12:30. You good with that?
Yep.
I appreciate it, dude. So, by the way, so you wake up in Tampa. What'd you do this morning? You're on the road. I know you're not going to the pool. I know you're not going for a run. I don't think you went for a lift. What are you doing in the mornings in the hotel?
I'll tell you what I did yesterday. I worked out for about an hour.
Attaboy.
Then I just walked around, but it's so stiflingly hot. Yeah. And I'll let you in. I just couldn't sleep last night. I felt awful. Like every muscle in my body felt like it was pulling. I feel awful right now. So I have not left the room because I knew I had to talk to you at noon.
Oh
I have
man.
not left the room, and I've just been, reading and preparing for my show. Usually I'll get outside, but I just feel like dog crap right now.
Well, then I really appreciate you coming on. And listen, I don't travel nearly as much as you do, obviously, but I'll do that sometimes. Even like St. John's with the tournament. If I'm away 4 or 5 days, San Diego and DC when they lost to Duke. Like sometimes, you have 2 kids. I've got 2 kids. We both have a wife. We both work a lot. Sometimes staying in the room and just chilling, it's like peace and quiet. It's phenomenal. It's like gold.
Listen to this, Brandon. So last week the Yankees were home, so I was home, and it was like I turned back the clock 20 years. Jody, her Christmas present for me was a walking tour of Scotland. So she went with a couple of her friends.
Wow.
She was gone. Both kids are at camp. They were gone.
Nice.
Jody, to help me out, because part of the time that she was away, I was going to be away. Like right now, she put the dog into a kennel. I was Tom Cruise in tighty whities playing air guitar. There was nobody in the house. And the first day it was nice, but then you start missing the sounds.
For sure.
You miss the sounds of the kids and you miss your wife and everything. But, I haven't seen any of them in like 2.5 weeks. So when I get home on Sunday, I'll finally see them.
You're not still wearing tighty whities, are you? I could see you doing that. Do you?
No, I boxer briefs.
Hey, me too.
Yes.
You got to keep,
but not white.
You got to keep the jewels, from bouncing around too much there, Mike.
You know what? The jewels they're so old now, it doesn't matter.
He's got to dust them off once in a while.
Yeah, right. Dusting off. That's the way to say it.
let me ask you this here, and let's hope this is not the case. Let's say, and again, hoping it's the alternate universe rather than what I'm about to present to you. Let's say this series with the Rays doesn't finish well. I believe the Nationals are up next, right? Nats?
Yep.
Should beat them, but let's say and let's say they finish the first half really poorly, and there's just a continuation and carryover into the second half. Is there any chance that they would move on from Aaron Boone during the season?
I don't think so. I mean, Aaron Boone is an esteemed member of the organization. Always represents the team in the right way. The way he conducts himself, meeting the media twice a game. Aaron Boone didn't hurt Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm. I think everything that's happening with this team is because of the injuries. And people go, "Oh, that's not an excuse." That's nonsense. It's a cliche to say it's not an excuse. Of course it's an excuse. It's a reason. No Aaron Judge, no Max Fried, no Giancarlo Stanton, no Carlos Rodon. Of course it's a reason why they're struggling. And you got to get your injured players back. So I don't think that Aaron Boone all of a sudden forgot how to manage. It's the lineup is compromised right now.
I've said with the Yankees, it's more about construction, which to me has always been more of a Cashman thing, right? But I think the court of public opinion is waning, obviously, by the year in terms of the ultimate belief for Aaron Boone. I still believe in him. I still love him. I'll still support him. Now, I won't remain blind forever, and nobody has a job. And Aaron has said that on the show, and he knows that. But my point is that I think part of the pushback, and he could change this, but I know he won't, is if he had the same exact record that he's had as the manager of the Yankees, a lot of wins, playoff wins, but he was just a little bit more transparent with the media about players who are scuffling. I think that that's what really gets people who want to support him more. They're tired of hearing Duvall's good, Wells is hitting the ball. Like that, to me, if that ever ended, then I think he'd be more accepted. I really do.
But the funny part is that this isn't a presidential election. The public's not voting on him. There's 2 guys that he has to please. He has to please Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner. And, that's the guys he's working for. So I don't think he has to please the media. He doesn't have to please the media, and he doesn't have to please the fans. I mean, the fans, they're the lifeblood of what we do. If there are no fans, there's no radio show for me. There's no Yes Network. I get all that. But, they're fanatical sometimes. I mean, the things that they fixate on and think that he's the reason why things are happening, he's never going to rip a player in public. I'm convinced, Brandon, that one of the reasons I'm doing a series here in St. Pete with Joe Girardi is that Joe Girardi had the temerity to actually rip Gary Sanchez, if you remember when he was the Yankee manager.
Of course.
And that was the beginning of the end, because that's not what managers do anymore. So a Lou Piniella wouldn't work now. A Billy Martin wouldn't work now. Earl Weaver wouldn't work. Listen, you're throwing red meat to the fans with, oh, he stinks. Oh, he can't hit. He's the worst. Okay, it makes the fans feel good, but it doesn't make the player in the front office feel good.
Nice usage of the word temerity. I
Thank you.
I don't incorporate that very often. I've got a decent vocab. Temerity's a good one. I like that.
Thank you.
I really
Thank
do.
you.
All right,
Fordham.
dude. I know. And by the way, Fordham's got a decent basketball roster. And are you following? Like, they did pretty well in the NIL. They got some players, man.
You know what? I just like to see them get to the NCAA while I'm still alive.
That's how I felt about St. John. I'm like, come on, let me just call some NCAA games, please. I mean,
And you did. And
yeah,
you
called
did.
a bunch. It's been good.
Yeah.
Rick, you're going nowhere, Rick. You coach it when you're 90. I don't care what you say. You ain't, now you can't leave.
That's
now
right.
You can't leave. Now you're sticking around, Rick. Hey, go get a little tea before the show. You got about 30 minutes for the Michael K. Show on 880. You know I love you, buddy. You know I appreciate you doing this. Thank you very much. Great stuff today, Mike. I'll talk to you, pal.
You got it. Be well.
There he is. Michael K., the great voice of the Yankees.